Hello, here in this video we're going to start 4.3, parallel and perpendicular lines. Here's the why. Parallel and perpendicular lines build the world around us. They are in almost every design and product. I want us to think about that over here. Where are some parallel and perpendicular lines? If you look around wherever you're at, whether that be a classroom, at home, out driving in a car, you will see parallel and perpendicular lines everywhere. I encourage you to look around the room and notice some parallel and perpendicular lines. You'll see these designs in the ceiling tiles. You'll see them on the floor. You'll see them in the windows, on the brick lines, in the rows and columns of desk, the edges of your desk. Parallel and perpendicular lines construct almost everything we do. I've got an image here for us. This is a image of downtown Louisville. You can see the downtown bridge right there. And it shows the layout of the city grid. And you'll see some ones that aren't parallel and perpendicular right there. I believe that's 4th Street Live, where some of the roads kind of do something different. But otherwise, if you notice, the city grid layout is parallel and perpendicular lines. If you were to zoom out on the United States of America on Google Maps, there's the United States of America, quick draw, you'll see that we have highways. And the highways aren't perfectly straight, obviously, but in general, we have highways that go east to west. And we have various highways that go north and south. And in a sense, they all run, for the most part, parallel and perpendicular to one another. You don't have two highways immediately right next to each other, both go in the same direction. Now, for us in Louisville, if you're going south to Florida, we do have one that kind of goes down from Louisville to either Nashville or Knoxville, I forget which one. But if you go a little bit east to Lexington, there's another one. And then I think they end up meeting somewhere in Georgia or something, who knows. I'd have to look at the map to remember. But the highways go north and south, east and west, if you look at the major interstates, and they all do that. Now, there's different ones for the city. Waterston Expressway in the city of Louisville is actually a little circle. So is Gene Snyder. Gene Snyder's like a bigger circle. And those are a little different. So city highways will do that to help link the city. But nationwide, we have parallel and perpendicular highways so that we don't have redundant highways or highways running into each other that we're both supposed to be going north and south. So it says, draw an example of parallel lines, and we're going to talk about what makes them parallel. Well, parallel lines are, as you know, lines that never cross or touch. So I'll draw this guy, and I'll draw that guy there. I can't do a straight edge tool on this program, but that's looking pretty good. So if we look at what makes them parallel, and let's break this down from a y equals mx plus b standpoint. It's like, well, let's talk about their y-intercepts. Here's a y-intercept. Here's a y-intercept. Let's notice one thing right away. They're definitely not the same. Right? They're different. So they have different y-intercepts. And I could even add in another line that's parallel. It has a different y-intercept as well. But if we think about the other component of y equals mx plus b, other than the y-intercept, is the component of slope. And if we look roughly here, because like I said, I don't have a straight edge tool on this program, we've got the same rise over run for all three of these guys. And that's what's actually making lines parallel. In conjunction with different y-intercepts, they have the exact same slope. So if the slope of one line is 3, the slope of the other is 3. The slope of one line is 1/2, and the other must be 1/2. So what we can do is this. We can use some of our skills that we used in the last section. The last section had us talking about point slope, y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. We will be using that a lot in this section. Here's a scenario. We've got a road, or a line in this case, y equals 2x plus 1. They graphed it for us there in blue. Now they want a line that's parallel to that passes through this specific point. So maybe you're looking at a zoomed out picture of a city or the United States of America or something like that. And you want another highway system to be running. Say you want diagonal highways in your country for some reason. And you want it to be parallel and you want it to pass through that city. You know, a lot of times the highways will pass through the major cities. So you want it to pass through that coordinate point 5, 4, and you want it to be parallel to that equation. So we're going to find that equation ultimately in slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is our y equals mx plus b. But when I go to find the y-intercept for this, you can see, it's off the page. Somewhere down here, but we can't see it. That's okay. We have an equation that allows us to work with lines that we don't know the y-intercept for, and it's point slope. Because in point slope, we were filling in three things. We were filling in y1, x1, and the slope. They gave us our coordinate point. Here is our x1. Here is our y1. So my x1 is 5. My y1 is 4. Now, they didn't give us a slope directly. They didn't say, hey, your slope is this. But in a sense, they did tell us the slope because they told us the slope of the other line. Think about this line here. What's the slope of that? It's 2. It's the value with x. So if the slope for that line, the blue line, is 2, and we want a line that's parallel, we need the exact same slope. So that gives us our point slope equation as y minus 4 is equal to 2 times the quantity of x minus 5. So that is an equation that passes through this point with the slope of 2. But say we wanted it in y equals mx plus b. Say you really wanted to know what that y-intercept is, but it goes off the page, so you can't find it. Well, let's now convert it to slope-intercept form. It's very easy to do. We distribute the 2 to both. And then we add 4 to both sides. And we get that y is equal to 2x minus 6. Notice, it has a slope of 2. Because this equation and this equation are the exact same thing, just written in different forms. Think of water as a liquid and water as ice. Okay, so if we look at this, let's make sure that a y-intercept of negative 6 makes sense. You know, if this dotted line kind of kept going, it'd cross over that y-axis at some point. Does it make sense that that's about negative 6? Yeah. There's negative 3 right there. So negative 6 does appear to be accurate and kind of complete that picture. So just a little visual proof of this concept working. All right. So let's talk about graphing another scenario. In this one, they gave us an equation. But we first will need to graph this guy. All right? And I want to talk to you guys, and we're going to take some time and go slow on this, about how we can do this. So I'm going to write, above this point and slope formula, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. I could convert this into y equals mx plus b. But if I do that, I'm going to end up getting a fraction y-intercept, which will be difficult to deal with. I'm actually going to teach us how to graph right out of point slope form. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find what coordinate point, x1, y1, is that equation really telling us about. what confuses people is that they want to tell me that their x1 is a negative 1, but it's really a positive 1. And let me show you why. The formula brings its own negative. This negative is that negative, which means our x1 is a 1. Same concept with y1. y1 here is a 2. So something that gets students on point slope is that when you're pulling a coordinate point out of the equation, the x and y coordinates end up being the opposite sign of what you'd expect. Because people will say, oh, it's a y of negative 2. Nope, formula brings its own negative, so it's a positive 2. Like, oh, it's an x coordinate negative 1. Nope, formula brings its own negative, so it's really a positive 1. Got to be on the lookout for that. Now, the good news is that concept of opposites continues to be true when we look at other types of equations moving into your Algebra 2 career. We'll see that opposite concept come up a lot, and we learn about the reason of why on that a little later. Okay. So there's the coordinate point for this line, and then here's our slope. So to graph this equation that they gave us, I don't have a y-intercept, but that's okay. I have a coordinate point to start with. It is 1, 2. And then our slope is negative 2/3, which will be starting from this point. We'll go down to the right 3, or up to the left 3. And when I connect these guys out, you can see, like I said, we had a fraction y-intercept. You can see that's not at a whole number. And that's why moving this into y equals mx plus b wouldn't have really helped us that much, because the graphing a y-intercept of whatever that would end up being, maybe it's a 2.5 or something, but it could have been something less easy, like 3/8 or, who knows. So point slope is nice to graph out of because you just pull the coordinate point out, pull the slope out, and then you have what you need to graph. All right. So all that was just to get that first one graphed. Now let's work on this second one. We've got a point that it wants us to pass through, negative 3, 3. So we need to pass through that line, and we also need it to have the exact same slope. So our slope was down 2 to the right 3. So if I go down 2 to the right 3, this one does land exactly on a y-intercept. That's convenient. So if I do that slope pattern of negative 2/3 on all of those guys, see that we get two lines that'll never cross. So let's find the equation for this green one. If I was going to do it in point slope, it'd look like this. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1, where you'd fill in our 3 blanks using x1, y1. Let's fill those in first. x1 is negative 3, y1 is 3. In our slope, it's parallel, so it's the exact same. Would look like that. Now, I can tidy this one up a little bit because there's a double negative going on over here. Because x minus negative 3 would be x plus 3. Okay. Now, it says convert to slope-intercept form. I will do that, but we should actually already know what our equation of y equals mx plus b would be for our green line. Because we knew the slope. It's negative 2/3. And we can visually see the y-intercept is 1. All right, I can see that on the graph. But I want to show you guys that even if I solve this guy out, I would get the same answer. If I distribute here, I get negative 2/3 x minus, and then what's happening right there is negative 2/3 times 3/1. I'd get negative 6/3, which is a negative 2. Okay. So right now we have y minus 3 is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 2. When I add the 3 to both sides, we get that y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 1 Does it match with what we already knew the equation was going to be from a visual standpoint? Yes. And remember that all of this stuff is just tools to help you work with these equations. It's like, well, why would I use point and slope there if I could just see from the graph that I could use y equals mx plus b? If you see a method that works, use that method. We're just learning multiple methods because sometimes, like this problem up above here, we did need point and slope because the y-intercept was off the page. We couldn't see it. So we'll continue to use point and slope as we work through part 2 of the video on the next day that'll cover perpendicular lines. So be sure to get comfortable with point and slope. It's very easy. You just have to get past the fact that it looks a little strange, but otherwise you're filling in 1, 2, 3 spots. If I gave you a coordinate point 2, -4, and I told you the slope was 5, pause here and think if you can write this equation in point and slope form. And then unpause it and see if you're correct. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So pause it and make sure that you would know how to do this. Because if we don't have this skill, you need to go back and you need to watch 4.2 textbook videos, like I talked about at the end of the 4.2 video that I made. So check that out if you're confused on that. All right, so here's what you'd get. Y minus -4 is equal to 5 times the quantity of x minus 2. If I simplify the double negative out there, that's an equation in point slope form. Passes through that point with a slope of 5. And we need that skill. If you want to, you can also check out 4.3 textbook videos by going to the resource tab on the home page of your textbook app, going to 4.3, resource section, 4.3, the section personal tutor, watch the videos on 4.3. You might cover perpendicular in there too, but that's okay. I'm going to cover it tomorrow. Never hurts to see it more than once. So be expecting a 4.2 part 2 coming later.